Hello everyone, welcome to another video lecture. Today we're going to be talking about cellular respiration. We're going to do a quick overview of the whole picture. We're not going to go that in depth into the various stages of cellular respiration. We're just going to quickly get the big picture of what cellular respiration is, where it takes place, and the molecules necessary for cellular respiration to happen. So right here I have a picture of the mitochondria. The mitochondria is one of the most important organelles in the cell for the creation of energy. You'll know that one of the products, by the end of the lecture, you'll know that one of the products of cellular respiration is energy. So the organelle, the mitochondria, it's perhaps the most important organelle in the cell when it comes to energy. So let's go ahead and take a look at our performance expectations. So I don't expect you guys to be able to design a model and illustrate cellular respiration by the end of this video, but hopefully by the end of the unit, all students should be able to design their own models, illustrating how the breakdown of bonds of food molecules and oxygen leads to a net transfer of energy and new compounds as well. Essentially, this is what cellular respiration is. In cellular respiration, we have two reactants. One of them is sugar and the other one is oxygen. We use sugar molecules and oxygen molecules. We break them down and we form new compounds. We form water, carbon dioxide, and energy. Those are going to be our products in cellular respiration. Here's the chemical equation. So for sugar, we use a molecule called glucose. The chemical composition of glucose is C6H12O6. And to glucose, we're going to add oxygen. We're going to add 6 oxygen molecules. Those are going to be our reactants once again. And then the products, we're going to end up with carbon dioxide, water, and energy in the form of ATP. So glucose, where can you find glucose? Well, like I said earlier, glucose is it's considered a sugar molecule. You can find glucose in actually a lot of our foods. You can find it in fruits, you can find it in honey, you can find it in bread, you can find it in potatoes. Basically think about something sugary, right, or starchy. That's where you can find glucose. Now, I mentioned earlier that energy was stored in the form of ATP, one of the products in cellular respiration. So here I have the chemical composition of ATP. So ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. You can see that ATP has three components. So the first one is adenosine, then you have a sugar, ribose, connecting to adenosine, and then you have 3 phosphate groups. So the reason why it's called triphosphate is because of tri meaning 3, so the 3 phosphate groups. If you take away one phosphate group, you're going to end up with adenosine diphosphate. Di meaning 2, because you only have 2 phosphate groups left. And if you take another one out of adenosine triphosphate, then you're going to end up with only 1 phosphate group. In that situation, we're going to call it adenosine monophosphate. So always remember, adenosine triphosphate, 3 phosphate groups. That means that the molecule is charged with energy. When it loses 1 phosphate group, when it loses that bond right here between the second and the third phosphate group, adenosine diphosphate doesn't have much energy left. It's considered an inactivated form of ATP. But when you add the third phosphate group, then it's considered an activated form, one that is fully charged. It goes back to our performance expectations, that energy is stored in the form of bonds inside molecules. So the 3 phases of cellular respiration, we have glycolysis, which happens in the cytoplasm. The second stage is the Krebs cycle, which occurs inside the mitochondria. And then the third one is the electron transfer chain, which occurs in the mitochondrial membrane. During these stages of cellular respiration, we break down the glucose molecule. We break it apart in every stage until we end up with our products, which are, once again, carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. Here is a quick summary of the 3 stages. So you can see over here in the picture on the left, glycolysis is the first stage, and we break down glucose into 2 compounds. The result of breaking down glucose, we end up with 2 ATP from glycolysis. Then during the Krebs cycle, the 2 glucose products are further processed during the Krebs cycle, and we end up with 2 more ATP as a result, and we also end up with carbon dioxide. Finally, during electron transfer, which happens once again in the mitochondrial membrane, you can see that we use the oxygen molecules, we break them down, and we end up with water. At the same time, we transfer those electrons into electron carriers, and we end up with a total of approximately 32 ATP. So depending on the textbook that you're reading, a lot of textbooks in cellular respiration vary on the net result, on the net gain of ATP per glucose molecule. Usually you're going to get something within 30 to 42. Some textbooks have 36, but a safe bet would be 30 to 42 total ATP gain per glucose molecules. And ATP is really what organisms use for energy. They break down ATP into ADP to use that energy for movement, for metabolic processes. This is how humans transform, and also other organisms transform food into energy. We'll cover the steps of cellular respiration, glycolysis, Krebs, and electron transfer in further detail in the next video. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you guys in class.